Larry Lessig, the Harvard law professor that was running for the Democratic nomination for president, has decided to quit the race, and he's blaming the political system that he wanted to reform. And I'm talking about the debate criteria, Margaret, because he wanted to be part of the second debate, and he was making his campaign and his efforts based on the idea that the criteria to qualify to this debate that is going to happen on November 14th was to have 1% in any of the three polls in the 6 weeks prior to the debate. Now, the Democratic National Committee got in touch and said, hey, buddy, we changed the rules, and I'm sorry to tell you that you had to poll at 1% 6 weeks before the debate. So technically, unless you have a time machine, you won't be able to qualify. And this was a big blow to his campaign, because although he has some notoriety on some niche groups from especially Silicon Valley, he's not as well known as Hillary Clinton. He needed the debate. Now he's not going to access. He decided to drop his bid for the Democratic nomination.
Do you think that the National Committee were looking at the numbers and they were like, how can we change this to bump him off?
I'm not too sure that he just it was a number issue, because I think he had a lot of possibilities now that Webb and Chaffee dropped their bids. Mm-hmm. He had a good chance of shining in the debate because he has very good ideas, and obviously he's a great speaker. But I do think that the Democratic establishment was a little threat, because they also benefit from the system that stands today. And as many of us know, his platform was the Citizen Equality Act that will reform campaign. Mm-hmm. And for both Republicans and Democrats alike, this is an issue that many might not want to move things, because they have their super PACs, they have their big money coming in, and someone that their only goal was to reform that is someone that is dangerous.
That's true. Well, the Democratic National Committee, they're the principal organization that governs the U.S. Democratic Party, and they understand how critical 2016 is. They understand that they need to get this down to Bernie and Hillary, and that they need to have a viable candidate leading between the two, and he was a distraction for them, in my opinion. The national leadership of the Democratic Party, they understand that very well, and I hear what you're saying about his campaign reform and his him wanting to reform PACs and the way that money is given out to these politicians, but at the same time, he was a distraction, my friend. They needed to get him off of that stage, and they did it by changing the linguistics of their rules, which is kind of shitty, because they should have just come out and said, you know what, buddy?
It was definitely a low blow.
Right.
By all means, they changed the rules in the middle of the game. That's not cool. But at the same time, I think that his campaign was doomed from the get-go. The fact that he ran on a referendum precedent platform where he would just come in, get something done, and then quit, people don't really react to that. He kind of reacted to the backlash and said, come forward and say, I'm changing my platform, now I'm staying, but it was too little too late. And I think that although his point is critical to the well-being of democracy in this country, I agree with you that the reality of today politics won't allow for someone to run on that campaign and still be successful.
That's true. I mean, the DNC is responsible for articulating and promoting the Democratic platform. And I'm assuming that Debbie Wasserman Schultz possibly sent him an I'm sorry note. But buddy, you've got to go. You don't represent the platform at all, and we need somebody really strong. I think just on the counterbalance of that, Trump doesn't represent the RNC at all either, and they despise him. But at the same time, they have to put up with him because of his grassroots, level of popularity.
It's a weird race.
He didn't have that, so. It's a comedy. I feel like we're watching a comedy.
It definitely is very unlike any other race that we've seen before. There's many characters that you wouldn't see in a race, and some others that have great ideas, but at the same time, they're too far out from the establishment and they get their doors closed. But we want to know your opinion. Do you think that Larry Lessig deserved a chance to debate along the other Democratic presidential candidates? Let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the Lib TV 2.